Good day. We're on part two. So I've cleaned all of this equipment. These are my beer lines and taps with soapy water and vinegar. But what I'm going to do is a two-part clean because I'm also going to run pressurized sanitizer through all the lines. That way I can check when I put all these back together to make sure that I don't have any leaks in the lines or the taps. Otherwise, you could end up wasting a bunch of beer. So I'm gonna do these parts first, and then I'll transfer beer to a keg to finish this video out. That way you can see this process start to finish. Okay, so when you're using kegging equipment, what I do, I have this old freezer. At some point it was used for ice cream. And so it's deep enough that I can fit these 5-gallon kegs in there pretty easily. But one of the things that I have here, instead of drilling holes right through the shell of this, what I ended up doing, I made a insulated wooden skirt that I can take and put on here like this, and now that's set on there. I'm gonna start building up my taps. These are pretty basic. I mean, when you clean them, you tear them all the way down, but all you end up doing is go through your hole, and then there's a washer that goes on the back with a nut, and then stays right on there. And then you end up taking a beer line like this. It also has a connector on the back, and then it goes onto the deck like that. So, boring part here, but I have to assemble all of this because then I'm going to end up putting cleaner, sterilizer cleaner in the kegs, pressurize them, blow the cleaner through before I end up starting to transfer beer into the keg. Okay, we're back. I just rinsed the kegs out with water, and now I have this one pressurizing. It's got about 2.5 gallons of cleaner in it. So now I'm gonna start pressure testing my lines. So here's the first one. What you keep handy during this are wrenches and screwdrivers for all your fittings. And then double check which line that goes to. See if it's that one. So I'll go ahead and start filling up my other keg. Give it a little break, let some pressure build up. So I have a CO2 tank with a regulator here. Right now I got it set to just under 30 pounds of pressure, and that's higher than what you end up pressurizing your beer lines at. And I'm just doing that so that I can make sure that whenever there's a pressure irregular thing going on, that there isn't anything that's leaking. So you're gonna drain all of this into this keg, and then I'll leave that pressurized because I'll probably put the beer inside of that one, and then I'm gonna start pressurizing this one, transferring it into another keg, cleaning a different line, and then you just repeat the process over and over. That way you can clean all your lines, and then you leave the sterilizer in it and pressurized when you're done. That way the next time that you start kegging beer with a different batch, you already have your lines clean, and then you're just going to blow off some of the sterilizer with the first beer that you pour out. So this is now the beer. What you saw in the last part was that this was in a plastic fermenter. The plastic, it is a lot easier to clean, and I am still using some pretty cheap equipment. So if you want me to upgrade at some point and donate to the cause, but I switch it over to the glass after about a week of fermenting in the plastic. And while it's in the glass, it is more or less in like a clarifying stage. This is gonna have just about no chunks to it, or like yeast particles or ingredient particles to it. And so a couple of tools that we have here. Keg that's still clean and pressurized, I'll unpressurize it. And then I have this siphon that goes inside the glass. The glass is known as a carboy, and so if you wanted to shop for something like that, it's called a carboy. Then I have some vinyl tube, and then I end up using a couple of paper towels around where the siphon and my vinyl tubing go on, because it helps keep things like dust and any sort of bugs that are flying around my garage out from being out. I usually do this transfer inside my house, but I'm gonna do it outside today because it's a little bit easier to record the video. So, one more sterilize and rinse. This might as well go back into this bucket full of sterilizer. I can dump this. Oh, I just missed everywhere. Oh well. This goes in there. I got some towels around, so when I'm done doing this part, I will start the cleanup process. But probably won't record it because that isn't going to be very fun for any of you to watch. Make sure you sterilize all over the outside of your tube. You get a couple more squirts of sterilizer through it. Okay. And then one more wipe of it. All right. So now got this. It's unsealed here now. Tube goes in. That is a auto siphon, in case you need to shop for that part to do something similar. And then I'm going to drape this sterilizer wet paper towel around the siphon. And then tube on. You need to make sure anything that is going to touch your beer gets at least a wipe of sterilizer over it. There's that, and then with the auto siphon, you just go up and down, and then gravity does the rest of the work on this. It'll transfer over, and then I'll start pressurizing. Okay, so now that it is all siphoned out of the carboy, everything that touches it needs to be CO2 or sterilized. So I'm gonna make sure that hands are cleaned really quickly. I'm gonna take my tube out. This is a part where it can get a little messy, but I'm just gonna end up returning that into here because I'll end up, after this, before cleaning, I'll do a taste test of it. Sterilized lid goes on. And then I'm gonna take you over here, only a few feet away from the kegerator. And rearrange my camera, make sure that it's watching the right thing. There you go. All right, now we pressurize it. So I carbonate using CO2. There's still gonna be some active yeast in this that'll also help carbonate it a bit, but most of it's gonna come from the CO2. And yeah, besides doing a taste test, that's about all it takes to get this into a keg and start carbonating it. In a day or so, I'll take it from here, put it inside of the keezer, and then freeze it. So that, or not freeze it, but turn the freezer on, that way it starts to get cold enough to where it'll end up taking in a lot more of that CO2. Okay, this is pressurizing. I can let off some of the air. So I cleaned up my equipment and I measured the final gravity with the hydrometer, and it came out to 1015. So this beer on beer math is going to be right over 7% alcohol by volume. So this will be a really strong porter. I did a little taste test. It definitely is close to a Black Butte porter by Deschutes Brewing, which is what the original recipe was cloned to do. Maybe it's a little bit towards the Guinness side, maybe a combo of the two, but it's tasty. It has plenty of alcohol in it, and now it just needs to carbonate so that it can end up getting that silky foam beer sort of texture to it. Anyways, that'll do it. Thanks for tuning in.